Hello, and welcome to the 6th episode of Season 2, Chuck versus the X. It's a good podcast today. I'm feeling it, boys and girls, I'm feeling it. Let's have a good podcast. Now, a lot of people aren't going to like this episode. They're not going to like this episode or the next episode, but they're there, so I'm discussing them. So, sorry, but this episode does kind of lend to an arc of the season, I guess you could say. And that is what we're going to discuss in today's episode. First off, I'd like to say we are back from break. No stoppages for the foreseeable future, so I'm back, and I'm glad to be back. Let's destroy some podcasts. Let's make podcast history over the next couple months, people. Let's do it. But once again, I'd like to thank those people that have not only listened to me since day one, but have just listened to any of the episodes in general of the podcast. I hope that when you listen to one, you listen to the rest of them. But I'm just glad people are listening. Honestly, we are over 700 downloads, and we are almost to 800. Hopefully, we will get to that 100 mark soon. That'll be fun. And like I said, once again, thanks to all those out there, all those people out there who have been listening to the podcast. It's been fun making it. Hopefully, it's been worthwhile listening. So, let's just delve into the episode at hand, people. Let's just delve into the episode at hand. Alright, so once again, I like to start the podcast off by doing two specific segments. The first segment I'm going to do is hit of the episode, and that's just, there's literally nobody hitting anybody in this episode. No bad guys being punched in the face. None. Zero. Bam. 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 I could give it to the bad guy, but I just don't like giving it to bad guys because they're always like one episode, especially when they die. So I don't like giving it to bad guys. So I decided that I am going to give it to Sarah for her wonderful pistol shooting. That's somewhat of a hit. It's sort of a hit, I guess you could say. Bam! Then the bullet hits him in the face, and it did come from Sarah. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Sarah Walker. Congratulations, Yvonne Strahovski as Sarah Walker. You have won Chuck versus the X hit of the episode. Congratulations. Let's give her all a round of applause. For those not keeping track at home, Season 2 scoreboard right now has Sarah Walker running away with hit of the episode. Just running away with it right now. She's up 5-1. She is just kicking some major ass this season, boys and girls. And it's awesome. It's awesome. It's cool to see some people kicking some ass. That's what I like to see. Some CIA Team Bartowski kicking butt. Well, there you have that. That was hit of the episode. So now we go to song of the episode. And there was a couple options for song of the episode. But sorry for the yawn. I was a little tired. But for song of the episode, I decided to go with Iggy Pop's Pumpin' for Jill. And that's just because Iggy Pop is a badass mofo. He is cool. He's a cool dude. He makes a lot of cool songs, and he is just kind of a cool guy in general. So, there we have it, folks. We have our Season 2, Episode 6 song of the episode for Chuck vs. the X. Pumpin' for Jill by Iggy Pop. And congratulations, Iggy Pop. Alright, that covers the 2 segments. So let's delve into the episode at hand. Now, as we open up this episode, we get a glimpse into life at Stanford. And I don't think it's a accurate representation of Stanford. Probably. I could be wrong. I've never been to Stanford. I don't think I've ever seen anything about Stanford except, pictures of stuff from Chuck. But I don't think it's the same. Like, I don't think it's like that. Like, I don't think people are just playing beer pong out on the lawn. I'm pretty sure that's illegal, actually. Like, I'm 100% sure that's, like, illegal. So, I don't think it's an accurate representation of Stanford college life. But we'll ignore that because it's a TV show. So we have Chuck coming from the Bymore back to Stanford trying to win his girly friend back. Jill. Trying to win Jill back. She ain't having none of it. In fact, she's in bed with Bryce. The traitor! So, that's what we get at the beginning. That's the only bit of the flashback we get. We get to see Chuck getting his heart broken, and things go down the hill from there. He's still at the Bymore. She has gotten her PhD in biomedical engineering, and Chuck is just sitting there at a Bymore, making $12.50 an hour. Hey, it could be minimum wage. It could be minimum wage. So, positives, people, positives. But Chuck's still working at that Bymore. Emmett is now the new manager, and Emmett's doing what any good assistant manager would do when he wants the manager position at some point in the future. He sucks up, kisses some ass. So that's what I mean. He does it in a funny way though. So I do appreciate that because I'm a big Tony Hale fan. Just because I was a big fan of Arrested Development, and I mean, Tony Hale's a pretty funny guy. So I like what he brings to Emmett as a character. He's funny. He brings a sense of humor to Emmett, but he also plays a suck up kiss ass so well, and it works. It's funny. It works out. A lot of the times you get your kiss up, and it's a one dimensional character that it's written specifically for you to hate. But with Tony Hale's character Emmett, it's more two dimensional in my eyes. It's 2 to 3 dimensional. I mean, you got this guy who came in from corporate, was made the assistant manager, and he is sucking up to be to become the manager, but it seems like he's got an ulterior motive. It's like he's not. It seems like he's got some ideas turning in his head for what he wants to do, and then he brings a humor to it. Usually these characters have no humor about them. They're straightforward. They have no witty dialogue. They have nothing. They're just there specifically to piss you off for what they're doing. And not Emmett. I mean, Emmett is pissing you off probably along the way, but he's also making you laugh at points. So I do like that. But anyway, Emmett begins sucking up, like I said. He brings in some donuts. Big Mike chokes on donuts because Big Mike doesn't know when to slow down and chew. He's inhaling them faster than a Hoover vacuum would. So, Big Mike, slow down on the donuts. We want you around forever, big boy. We want you around for a long time, big guy. We want you around for a long time. So Chuck has to go on a. So obviously that gets some wheels turning with Emmett, and uh, he says, "Hey, everybody should learn how to do the Heimlich because you never know when a situation like this is going to arise." By the way, I'm going to go through the buy more part and then on to Team Bartowski because Team Bartowski is a whole nother monster. Anyway, so they Emmett sets up a CPR course, and it's not going to work out. I'm telling you. And it's not going to work out because when has a buy more employee had discipline besides Chuck? When? When? And the answer to that is never. Morgan has his flashes of maturity, but that's it. That's about it. At least what we've seen. So Emmett brings in Awesome to teach CPR and to get them all certified. But Chuck is already certified. Bam, he's out. All he has to do is take the test. And Morgan and them are scared because there's an actual test. And they don't want to do a test. So, what do they decide to do? They're going to steal the test. Why wouldn't they try and steal the test? I mean, it seems pretty on par with what they do. So, Morgan sends Jeff and Lester to be the distraction for Ellie while he sneaks in to steal the test. Too bad Morgan is clumsy and knocks over Ellie's laundry and holds her unmentionables, her underoos, underpants, panties, depending on your pronunciation, or your choice of words for undergarments. So, and Jeff and Lester obviously can't keep Ellie busy enough because they're weird and she doesn't want to talk to them that much. So that doesn't work. Morgan gets caught by Ellie and Awesome, and he gets caught with underoos in hand. And he tries to play it off as him being honest by telling the truth about what he's there for, and that is to steal the test, not undergarments. And Sarah's like, "Hey, so you would rather admit you were a thief than a perv?" And God love Morgan. He's like, "Yeah, doesn't the truth count for something?" It does, Morgan. It does. But that's too bad because you can't have anything like that. So you have to actually take the test. Well, this test is not going to be easy. It's an hour long and it's a pretty thick packet. Now, I am not I don't keep up to date with how long CPR tests are. It's not something I do in my free time. Maybe it's something I should start doing in my free time, I guess, at this point. But I haven't. So, an hour-long CPR test seems a little outrageous to me. It seems like that might be a little bit too long. But then again, like I said, I don't keep up with it in my spare time. So I could be 100% wrong. I probably am 100% wrong. I'm wrong a lot. So they sit down, take the test, but Chuck gets a call from Casey about the mission. We'll discuss that later. He leaves. So now Morgan, Jeff, and Lester have no one to copy off of. And that's really what they were going to do the entire test, is just straight up copy off Chuck. Because that's what they do best. Let Chuck do all the work for them, and then they swoop in and take the whatever's left of it. But so they obviously don't have anything. They don't have anybody to cheat off of. They don't know. They don't have someone who knows what they're doing to cheat off of. So They decide, once they get to the Heimlich section, hey, if we give him the if we make Jeff eat the cap of a pin and choke on it, we get to see firsthand what the Heimlich maneuver does. And that is a brilliant plan. Congratulations, Morgan and Jeff. Or not Jeff. Well, congratulations, Jeff, for not dying. But congratulations, Morgan and Lester, for creating a plan so diabolically evil that it puts the life of your friend in jeopardy. But it meets an ulterior goal that you really want, which is to pass the CPR test so you don't have to take it outside of your work hours for free and stuff. So they make Jeff eat a pin cap, and he chokes. Emmett and Awesome do all the work for them. They write it down, and bam, they pass that section, at least that section. But Emmett, as soon as it happens, Emmett knows exactly what they were doing, but he can't prove it. That's his ultimate downfall, is he can't prove it. So they pass, boys. They pass, boys and girls. And that is the buy more for this episode, folks. That is the buy more section of this episode. So we'll move on to the big topics at hand, the Team Bartowski moments. So let's just delve right in. Now, like I said, we started off the episode with a flashback. That flashback really set up kind of a tone for this episode in that, hey, Chuck's got these feelings and these questions and these thoughts on his mind, and he kind of wants to get to the bottom of it if he could. And guess what? He can. When he goes to that biomedical conference, who does he run into other than the one and only Jill, the Jill that broke his heart in college? And she is doing way better than he is, obviously, because that's what this show's about, is everybody from Chuck's previous life doing way better than he is. Just because stupid Bryce. But anyway, he gets to play the catch-up game with his ex, which is not a game you want to play. Just a thought. No, sometimes the catch-up game is all right, but most of the times the catch-up game with the ex is just not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun. But he is introduced to her boss, and he flashes. Now, I want to talk about flashes for a minute, just because, I don't know, it confuses me at this point. Because he waited like a good 5 to 10 seconds before he flashed on Guy, even though he's staring at his face. I mean, he didn't see his full face, but you'd think, I don't know, even when he did see his full face, it took at least a few seconds to start the flash, like 5 to 6 seconds at least. It just seems like there's inconsistencies with the speed at which he flashes. Sees one thing, bam, immediate flash. Sees somebody's face who's clearly in the intersect, it should do the exact same thing, immediately flash. But no, he waits like 5 seconds, bam. He waits like 5 seconds, then bam, he flashes on him then. I'm guessing it's probably just an editing error on the editing team's part, and it's not really much of an editing error. I mean, I'm really just nitpicking at this moment, but I don't know, it seems weird to me how the flashes work, I guess. I don't know. Like, if somehow somebody on the editing team of Chuck happens to listen to this, I'm not saying you're a terrible editor. I really am just nitpicking. But that's what you have to do for a podcast like this. You gotta nitpick sometimes. And that's what I'm doing. So, I mean, it's not really like a huge deal. It's not like the Han shot first ordeal. That's a huge ordeal. But this is not big. but I don't know. I was curious. And I wasn't 100% on the understanding trail. So I put that idea out there. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, Chuck is now sanctioned by the CIA to have to go on a date with his ex, Jill. Now, that is a terrible idea by the CIA, but also a funny idea. And Casey is first to take advantage of that hilariousness, always teasing Chuck about his love life. I really think that's where he shows he cares. He really does kind of care at that point. He's like, well, I like teasing Chuck about his love life, but it's because I really want him to succeed in life. Sort of. Not really, but sort of. That's my thought process, anyway. So he goes on a date with Jill to this restaurant that is run by the CIA. It's an entire restaurant full of CIA agents. And they're all supposed to act like that Chuck owns the place. And it's pretty funny. Everybody's like, evening, Mr. Carmichael, even or Martowski, evening, Mr. Bartowski, evening, Mr. Bartowski. It's funny. I like it. Now, obviously, Ellie is having none of this Jill business. She does not like the fact that Jill is back in Chuck's life. She's playing the overprotective big sister. Even the writers of the show, even at this point, go, yeah, we know she's an overprotective big sister, but that is her role with the dialogue. But what I'm trying to say is that Ellie may be way too overprotective, but there are reasons for it. Their mother left them when they were very young, and you'll learn later what happened to their father. So, I mean, there's good reasons to why she's super overprotective, but she definitely is overprotective. So, they're at the restaurant, and they're having a terrible time because Chuck is just being a whiny little baby. And, I mean, yeah, she hurt your feelings, but come on, Chuck. You can't just, I don't know. You're trying to protect the world at the same time, so you gotta be subtle about things. Closure is a subtle game, Chuck. It's a subtle game. It's not, hey, why'd you do this? It's hints and clues. Subtlety, Chuck. Subtlety. But anyway, he starts freaking out on her. Sarah calls him over to help calm him down so he can get on with the evening and learn about the good things. And she does a good job, even though it's kind of apparent she doesn't like what's going on here. She's not a big fan of Jill. And we all know why. It's because she loves Chuck. She's not a big fan because she is in love with this guy named Chuck. But that's neither here nor there at this point, because it will be here and there later on in the episode. But anyway, Sarah, in her black hair wig, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. It may have been the length, but I think it was just the hair in general. I know it was weird. Just a weird setup. But, I mean, I'm just a guy. It's pretty sexist of me just to judge a woman based on her hair. So, but, I don't know. Something about that hair kind of is off-putting in my opinion. But that's, like I said, that's not important to the episode. Well, Jeff and Lester ruin things, obviously, because that's what they do best. And they let Jill know, hey, Chuck is still working on that buy more. And she is not happy. Not happy. So, she leaves. And Chuck is left out in the dark again. But he's got another chance. They're going to go spy on Jill at the hotel, find out what she knows. So Chuck goes down there, Goes into the van. Someone's got to go play in a bug. Who best but Chuck, so we can apologize. That's what he does. He goes up there and he apologizes like a man. Apologizes like a man. Talks to her. Plants the bug. Turns it off so Sarah doesn't hear what's going on. It may seem like he's doing it just so Jill doesn't say anything incriminating or something like that, but no, it's 100% so Sarah doesn't have to hear him talking to Jill in a romantic way. So Jill kisses him. He comes back to the van. He's all giddy in the face, and Sarah sees it. She's like, "Why are you smiling?" He's like, "She kissed me." And he's got this dumb grin on his face, like every guy has in that type of situation. And Sarah has a look on her face that says, "Hey, is Sarah Walker gonna have to cut a bee?" And she might have to cut a bee. I'm rooting for you, Sarah. I'm rooting for you. But anyway, so she's not happy about that kiss. Obviously, that face is already mildly suspect at why he's grinning like a dumb idiot, but I'm pretty sure she knows why. And then he confirms it, and her face drops down lower than Droopy Dog. Why? That was a terrible Droopy Dog impression. My bad. But anyway, so Chuck has got the girl again, but he forgot to turn on the bug. So Casey turns it on, and they see an assassin heading to Guy's floor. So they leave Chuck in the van, while Sarah and Casey go get Guy's assassin. And while in the van, he overhears a conversation between Jill and her friend. And what does he do? He forgets that bugs allow you to talk on the phone too. So that is an awkward thing. And she is angry at him again, doesn't trust him again. So it's pretty back and forth between Jill and Chuck at first. So Guy is assassinated and dropped off his balcony onto the van. Guy is dead. And now Casey has to talk to Jill about why Guy would be dead. Why Guy would be killed. Turns out he's working on a bioweapon, but not to use, to prevent. And somebody wants that bioweapon to destroy mankind. And he's going to stop at nothing until he gets it, including killing Guy. Anyway, he's got it. So now someone's got to present the conference so they can help people and help prevent them from a bioweapon from going off, basically. So Sarah gives the presentation. They see the bad guy. He takes off. She chases after him. They get out of the room, and she continues chasing him. Meanwhile, the bioweapon is released. The room is sealed off, and people are dying. So now we have two conflicting plot lines right now. Sarah is chasing after the bad guy, and Casey is getting Chuck to get Jill with the antidote down to the conference center to help spare the lives of looks maybe like less than 100, but it's probably meant to represent like 100 some people. So he gets Chuck down there. Chuck gets down to Jill, profusely apologizes, and he's like, "I'm creepy, yeah, whatever, but I'm with the CIA. I'm just trying to help." Bam. Love me. And she goes down to the conference center with him. Holding hands, by the way. Don't think I didn't see that, Chuck. Don't think I didn't see that. But, so they get down there. Chuck doesn't want Jill going in there because it's too dangerous for her, he says. So, he goes in there with the antidote. and he's supposed to extract his blood, but he has a thing with needles, so he can't do it. He has Casey do it. Bad thing is, Casey is dizzy because he is dying. Come on, Chuck. Think ahead. Anyway, while that's going on, they drop it. Because Casey drops it, and the syringe breaks. So, you have everybody dying now. Except for Chuck, obviously. Because he has the antidote in his blood. And it's metabolizing. But everybody else is dying. So Jill has to go get another syringe and some hazmat suits. Meanwhile, Chuck has some ideas. And meanwhile, Sarah has chased the bad guy. They get into an altercation involving pistols. And Sarah straight up shoots the guy in the face. Bam. Dead. DRT. Dead right there. And she finds out that he is a CIA agent. What? CIA agent? Why would a CIA agent want to release a bioweapon? Turns out he's Fulcrum. Fulcrum, the bad guys. We haven't really heard about Fulcrum in a few episodes, like 5 episodes. So it's Fulcrum, boys and girls. The evil people. The evil people. So, sorry. But anyway, so Sarah gets the bad guy. Jill makes it back in time with a new syringe and a hazmat suit to save everybody with Chuck's blood by administering the antidote to everybody. But not before Chuck decides, hey, viruses are spread airborne. Maybe it metabolized in my saliva. So we get the man kiss of the century between Chuck and Casey. And obviously Casey would rather die than kiss Chuck. He has served his country proudly, and he's given it many years, so he's ready to die if need be. If he has to kiss Chuck, he's ready to die in exchange of that. Chuck is not having any of that. Chuck goes for the full-on man kiss. And that's there we go. It didn't do anything because that's not how antidotes are spread. So, I mean, congratulations, Chuck. You didn't save Casey in that aspect, but you did plan a sloppy one on him. Man kiss between Chuck and Casey. But Jill comes in, like I said, uses Chuck's blood to save the day. They walk out confidently. Bam, they're heroes. American heroes. Real American heroes. And then Chuck and Jill start making out. And Sarah has a terrible, like that droopy dog face from earlier gets even lower. It's even more sad in her face because Chuck is happy with someone else and he has to listen to it. She has to listen to it, not he. Sorry. She has to listen to it. She has to listen to their conversations and whatnot about how happy they are together and how terrible it was for Chuck to have a cover girlfriend. All the while, Sarah's wanting it not to be a cover, but she can't make it not a cover because of the agency and how her affiliation would be scrutinized in that case. So it's tough for Sarah. I feel bad for her. I feel bad for both because they spend time just playing games, and they spend all this time playing games, and they don't talk to each other. But that's how most TV shows work. It's like a lot of conflicts can be resolved by just talking things out, but no one ever does on a TV show because that would defeat the purpose of TV, and then they wouldn't have episodes. So I understand why they need conflict, and I respect that. There you have it, folks. Jill is back in Chuck's life, and it seems like she might be there for a little bit. And that's it, folks. That's today's episode. Congratulations. Thank you for listening. I hope you continue to listen. I'm ready to take this podcast to new heights. Let's get it climbing the charts of the iTunes podcast. Let's get it to the top. Let's get to the top, people. Like, review, share, subscribe, stuff like that. You know, the huge. Follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at ChuckRewatch33, and I like to tweet GIFs. I'm starting to get into the GIF game. It's a lot of fun. People seem to enjoy it. So I might stay in the GIF game. But I am on Twitter, and I do like to mingle with other Chuck fans. It's a lot of fun for me. So go follow me there. And once again, just thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to me, the dumb idiot, discuss my favorite TV show and your favorite TV show, probably, if you're listening to this. So there you have it, folks. Signing off, I'm Paul. Remember, everybody loves Chuck. Some people, they just don't know it yet.